I don't know if we'll discuss it now, but just the idea, what for the Tigers to have success in 2024, a lot of it's going to hinge on injured guys coming back and being healthy and performing. And not everybody's going to be healthy. So I was just in my head, I'm like, okay, well, arguably the two most talented, best players in the team are going to be Tarik Skubal and Riley Greene. And so my kind of theoretical question is, if you could only have one healthy for the entire season, which one do you pick? Is it Skubal or is it Greene?
Mm.
Um, and I have some thoughts, but I threw it out there to you guys too. And of course, anybody listening who's in the chat, they can chime in there if they think. Obviously, we want both of them, but it's a
Yeah.
tough choice.
Yeah, I'm going to type out the question too, as well, so people can, as a point of reference. But Uper, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great question, and so much of the success of the season is tied into what the results are on the field. I went back and forth a couple times, but in the end, I go Riley Greene, and I don't even think it's, once I set it all in my mind, I don't even think it's that close. I think they need that that bat in the middle of the order for 160 games would be really amazing. If we see the guy that we saw just before the injury, right, that last month or so, when he was really seemingly getting on base at a 400 clip, had a few line drive home runs. If he's a 25 homer guy and can get on base in the high 300s, like say 380, whatever, that's going to be a day in, day out asset to the lineup that they desperately need. I mean, again, we've talked about it before. They were still a bad offense last year, even with the bit of improvement that they had from some players. So if they're going to go places, that's what they have to have. Plus, with Tarik Skubal, again, dominant 80 innings that he threw it toward the end there, looked great, but he's been so unreliable. And, he's going to be a free agent in a couple of years. So if I was going to pick one who's going to stay healthy and be on the path to stardom, then I'm going to go Riley Greene.
I was back and forth about this because I thought about Tarik Skubal in a full season and how that would affect the rotation. But then knowing full well that the Tigers have been able to develop pitching pretty well recently and have seen guys kind of bounce back a little bit, I would have to go with Riley Greene, because as of the team as it is right now, as of January 4th, they lack offense. They really lack offense right now. The Tigers really do need to go need to sign another bat. They haven't. If they're going to go with Matt Verling at third base to start the year, so be it. But you're not sure what you're getting with Javier Baez. You are getting declining production. I will say that. Although I did see something on Twitter that I think it was Patrick Kennedy, the writer over at Bless You Boy, saying the Tigers don't have a shortstop. In theory, he's right, but then also Baez, like talking about, he was one of the worst defensive shortstops in all the American League last year by errors.
Defensive?
Yeah.
Oh, well, errors. Okay.
Yeah, fielding percentage, that kind of thing. Yeah. But I know, Chris. We'll get to that in a second. But again, what are your options? There's no free agents on the market. Your minor league system doesn't have any shortstops that can play outside of Kreidler, who, when healthy, might be a fourth bat at best. But honestly, I think Riley Greene, you need a fully healthy Riley Greene in the outfield. Put him in the corner spot with Parker Meadows in center, and you have a pretty good outfield right there. Because the left field, the Tigers, in terms of left field last year, they weren't getting really a lot of production last year, and they struggled with that. So if they have Greene out there, and then you have Canha and Wright, or rotating, you have like a rotating with him and Carpenter, because Carpenter, everybody talks about his defense. I thought Carpenter was fine. He's serviceable in right, or if you had a bat like Jorge Soler, which I'm writing an article about that based off our conversations we had, Uper. So I'm writing an article for Motor City Bengals. It'll be coming out tomorrow for that, because I think the Tigers need another right-handed bat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's room for him to play. It's not going to take away from the prospect. So I'll explain all that tomorrow in the article. But defensively, Greene, as he is right now, can give you just serviceable, because I do worry about if it's something that's going to happen to him similar to Brian Buxton, where Buxton right now is essentially he cannot play the outfield anymore because it's knee on knee, correct, or something to that effect.
He's a DH for him now, which is
Yeah.
wild because he was one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. But yeah, and I don't think he even like runs much anymore. It's
No.
a shame, but yeah.
I mean, he had the kind of speed where he could hit a routine grounder to short and beat it out, right? I mean, and no one does that.
Well, didn't he do that? Didn't he hit a ground ball to third base? I think in walk off the Tigers.
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
recall, or maybe it was
Mhm.
shortstop. I thought it was third base. It's just a walk off infielder or
Yeah.
infield grounder.
Yeah.
Which is not exactly a walk off. It was fastest guy in baseball off, but yeah, it's kind of. I looked at it kind of. My initial reaction is yeah, Riley Greene. And to your point, it's because the Tigers lack offense. One of my resolutions was them to just have an average offense. It's been 7 years since that was the case. That's not too much to ask for, I don't think. But I think in a vacuum, right now, I would just in a vacuum, like I said, I would pick Skubal because I think he's come closer to his ceiling. Than Green has. I mean, Green's only played 192 games so far in the big leagues, and he was very good last year. And I think he has a chance to be even better. 300, maybe get close to 30 home runs one day. He needs to lift the ball a little bit more. But Skubal last year gave us a half a year of legitimate ace, where like a 6-WAR pitcher, Cy Young candidate. Whereas was Green right now, the best we've seen from him is probably more like a 4-WAR player, which is outstanding. That's an all-star. But yeah, so like I said, in a vacuum, I think I'd take Skubal, but given how Green's age, what the Tigers need, I do think that you would prefer to have a healthy year from him, just because, that the bats in the organization aren't quite up there with the arms at this moment. They need more.